Don't stop till everything's gone. Straight ahead, never turn around. Don't back up, don't back down.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Dog Pound Weekly. I'm Randy Moore, I'm the head football coach, and I have a young man with me today, Richard Simpson, who's a senior wide receiver for us here at Hiram. And I'll start off by having Richard introduce himself, tell a little bit about himself, where he's from, and those kind of things.
I'm Richard Simpson. I'm a senior from Kissimmee, Florida. I'm a sociology major. Love Hiram. It's a great place to be. Coach Moore recruited me, came to my house, talked to me. Loved talking to him. My mom liked him, and that was a big factor. Came to the campus, loved it, enjoyed it, so that's what brought me here.
Do you know what you want to do with a sociology major?
Hopefully go into social work. If that doesn't work out, FBI, always something interesting I can also be in.
What do you want to do in the social work? It's a wide field. Do you have something picked out that you might like to do?
Yeah, work with kids, kind of be like a social worker, like go to the houses, make sure the kids are okay, make sure like they have what they need.
Sure.
That's what I want to do.
Well, that's kind of what I started out. I started out at the University of Iowa as a social work major and worked in a juvenile diversion program, but it sounds like you're talking about getting into the homes before problems happen.
Yes.
And that was one of the things that kind of drove me away from it, was the fact that I was working in a diversion program, and I didn't want to work with young people after they got in trouble. I wanted to try to help them before they got in trouble. So I really appreciate what you're going to try to do. Last week, again, we lost to Kenyon College 20-16. A very hard-fought game. Our players left nothing on the field from an emotional standpoint and a physical standpoint. They really fought hard throughout the course of the whole game. We had a chance to win again in the fourth quarter with about 2 minutes left to play. We got the ball down on the 8-yard line, 1st and goal, and we just couldn't punch it in the end zone. And so, again, a 4-point loss. If you look back at Denison, we had a 5-point loss there. I mean, we're 9 points away from being a 4-2 football team as opposed to a 2-4 football team.
Right.
I think it's a big process as we go along through the course we need to win a game like that to help us springboard into the next level and things like that, and those things will come. As far as the game went, as far as players of the game, Richard had 5 receptions for 135 yards. I mean, and when I was talking about 5 receptions, they were great receptions. They were fantastic catches, and you know, I think that there were times during the course of the year when Richard's made some huge catches for us. And then Saturday, what was the difference for you coming up with those catches in that game where, you know, how did you, I mean, what did you do different? How did you prepare differently to make those types of catches?
Mentally, I was just figuring that, you know, it's going to be a hard-fought game the whole week, and then I would just, when the time came, I felt like my time would be my time to make a play, and when playmakers make plays when they need to be made, so I figured it's my time to make plays and do my job on the team and help the team get the victory. So I try my best.
Yep, he did a fantastic job. And so Richard was our overall player of the game. On offense, David Perkins, for the 2nd straight week, had over 100 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. He's a young man that's from Santa Ana, California, and is just a freshman, and we're real excited about the future with him. The offensive lineman of the week was Kyle Bates from Painesville Harvey High School. It's the 2nd week in a row for Kyle also, and you know, he's still got 2 more years after this year of football to come back and play, and again, a big part of our present but also of our future, like David. Our defensive front 6 player of the game was Kyle Burchett. Kyle's name's come through in the 6 weeks probably 4 times as far as player of the game, and he's a freshman from Fairport Harding High School. Did a great job of tackling, sniffing out screens, hustling to the football. And again, he's a young player that really is helping set us up this year and for the next 3 years. Andrew Torres was our skill player of the week. He had his 3rd interception of the year. He's a sophomore. He is from Cape Coral, Florida, and Mariner High School there, and had a big pick down towards the red zone and really had some tough assignments all day long with their receivers and really did a fantastic job. As I take a look at it again, I mentioned the fact that we're 9 points away from being 4-2. And as we head into this bye week, there are some things that, you know, we need to focus in on to help make us win those games instead of lose those games. And, you know, we're working on this week as we go into it, a lot of times, you know, you just prepare for the next opponent or you prepare against yourselves. And we're going to do a mixture of both, but we're really preparing our players to be competitive. Today's practice will be a very unique practice where during individual, the wide receivers will be against the defensive backs the whole period. We'll score our offense versus our defense and have a winner and a loser each and every day on inside run and during 7-on-7. And then tomorrow we'll do pass protection and 7-on-7. And we'll continue to compete against each other individually and collectively as a group and a team. And then we will also start to introduce Ohio Wesleyan and some of the things that they do. I won't get too much into Ohio Wesleyan right now. I believe they're 3-2 and had a tough loss last weekend to Wabash, 38 to I think it was 13 or 15 or something like that. You know, and so they had a tough loss. But again, we'll get into that next week. But from the mental aspect, as we prepare this week, I think that the three things that we really have to focus in on as a team, and our coaches are going to talk to our players substantially about this. Number one is discipline. And discipline doesn't mean getting in fights or personal fouls or things like that. It's discipline within our assignments. And what we do when a tackle does this, or when a defensive back does this, or when a wide receiver does this. The discipline to do the fundamentals over and over again. Communication. You know, we had some communication problems after the ball game on Saturday, and we're handling those. And the thing that we're doing is we're re-emphasizing with our players and with our coaches the importance of communicating and really talking to each other on and off the field. And then the third thing is accountability. And each and every one of us have to be accountable in our approach to the football, in our approach to school, in our approach to life. And when we make a mistake, we own up to that mistake, we get better, and we don't let that same mistake happen over and over again. So while we're working on the physical, competing, while we're working on the OWU scheme, it's as much a mental week in recircling the wagons. I took a look at the history of Hiram football, and I brought it up to the team yesterday. We've got 4 games left. If we go 6-4, all right, with the next 2 games being very tough football games, and 2 that we may be the favorite at the end of the year, the last 2, if we were to go 6-4, it'd be the first time since 1988 that Hiram has won 6 games. If we can't pull out a win against OWU or Wabash, and we win the last 2 ball games at the end of the year, it'll have been since 1998. So there's a long history of not being successful here, and we are trying to change that culture. And we feel like we have a good group of young men that are working hard, that have the heart and the desire to make that happen, and it's a learning process. I mean, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like we're...
I feel we're 10 times better team than we have been in the past. We're a team. We're not individuals this year. We play for each other and not individually. And I feel like I'm just looking forward to the future, even though this season's not over. But in the future, I feel like Hiram's going to be a really good team. I know it.
I agree with you, Richard. And, you know, again, some of the players that have been here in the past, and Richard's been a huge part of Hiram football since I've been here. He was one of my first recruits. And he came in, and he's been a part of turning this program and changing this program around. And this is the stepping stone year for setting up years beyond this. And Richard's been a big part of the stepping stone process in this. And we really appreciate him being here. And as we talk about the future, I want to talk about our JV team. Last night, we played Geneva College and ended up winning 20-0. And really did a fantastic job. And right now, our record on the JV level is 3-1. We had some great plays last night on special teams. We had a new kicker join our program last week. He came in and he punted and he kicked well. You know, Akili Tate was our player of the game. He's a young man that's from Los Angeles, California. He had 2 big touchdown catches. He's probably 6'2", 6'3", lanky wide receiver that's really going to be a big part of our future. And it's good to see those JV players have success and know that the future is good for Hiram football. It was fun watching that last night. It was a lot of fun. again, that's this week and our approach to this week. Just like any other week, we have goals that we set up for this week. We don't have an opponent to set the goals against, but we have goals that are set in what we need to accomplish this week, and it's compete, play together, all right, and discipline, communication, and accountability. You're more than welcome to come out to any practice this week. We'll be practicing at 4:15, 4:30. Love to have you out. You have open door meeting policies, whatever you'd like to do. You know, and then we'll talk about Ohio Wesleyan next week. Thank you. Have a great weekend, and go Dogs.